Welcome to this explainer. We often think of personality as this totally fixed, rigid thing, right? Like it's just something you're born with and you're stuck with it. But the reality is actually so much more fascinating than that. Personality is dynamic. It's a learnable skill. It's really just a series of internal frameworks and external habits that, when you finally master them, create this undeniably attractive magnetic presence. So, why do some people just instantly light up a room the second they walk in? What exactly is that invisible gravitational pull that they have? I promise you, it's not magic. It's actually the very real science of confidence and connection. Okay, let's dive into this and decode exactly how this all works. To really understand true magnetism, let's look at a pretty perfect recent example. Think back to the Paris Olympics. Remember Yusuf Dikeç, the Turkish shooter who absolutely took the world by storm? He won a silver medal in a fiercely competitive event without using any of that specialized eye gear or lenses or ear protection. He just stepped right up with his completely casual demeanor, literally with one hand in his pocket, and hit his target. Now, think about this for a second. People have already forgotten the names of the athletes who actually won gold in those exact same games, but everyone remembers Yusuf. Why? Because raw, unbothered confidence makes you completely unforgettable. Act 1. Cultivating inner confidence. This is really where the whole journey begins. Because honestly, you cannot build a magnetic exterior without first constructing a rock-solid, unshakable foundation on the inside. There's this very fine line in self-improvement that basically dictates whether it's actually going to work for you. You have to ask yourself, are you driven by internal validation or external validation? If you're doing things purely for external validation, trying to get others to look at you, admire you, or copy you, it becomes this exhausting, never-ending chase. You're basically placing the entire power of your fulfillment into the hands of strangers. So the absolute crucial step here is to shift to internal validation. When you work on yourself strictly to make yourself proud, you stop trying to prove anything to anybody else. And that quiet self-assurance, that is the secret bedrock of true confidence. But what if you're sitting there thinking, well, I just don't have that kind of confidence right now? That brings us to a really powerful psychological tool: exposure therapy. This is basically the process of progressively exposing yourself to a situation you fear continuously in order to build up your confidence over time. It's an incredibly effective way to overcome even severe social anxieties, like the absolute dread of public speaking or just approaching strangers. Let's break down exactly how you'd actually apply this to a terrifying social interaction. Instead of trying to jump straight to the finish line, which is overwhelming, you just build micro habits. Step 1. On the very first day, simply walk up to someone new and ask for the time. That is it. Step 2, a few days later, you step it up just a bit. Ask for the time and then offer a quick, genuine compliment about their shoes or their jacket, and then just walk away. By the time you reach step 3, which might be a few weeks later, you've completely desensitized your own fear response. You'll find you can seamlessly transition from a simple compliment into a full, engaging conversation. You've literally rewired your brain. Act 2. Leveraging the halo effect. So now that we've established that internal framework, we have to translate that internal confidence visually to the outside world. Think of it like this. Your looks open the door, but your personality is the room inside. Your physical presentation matters immensely when it comes to first impressions. If someone opens the door and the room is beautifully decorated, meaning your personality is fantastic, they're absolutely going to stay. But if your visual presentation doesn't compel them to open the door in the first place, well, they're just going to walk right by. And this brilliantly illustrates a cognitive bias we call the halo effect. Human psychology is just hardwired to judge someone's internal character based almost entirely on their external appearance. Think about a simple piece of fruit at a grocery store. If a vendor takes a tiny 5-cent sticker and slaps it on an apple, customers will automatically assume it's a premium, higher quality, sweeter apple, and they will gladly pay more for it. Now, obviously, the sticker doesn't change the flavor of the fruit at all, but it completely changes human perception. In life, your presentation is your sticker. To project that sense of authority and competence, there are a few grooming non-negotiables. And listen, these aren't just fashion choices. They are powerful visual psychological cues. If you want to appear taller, wear vertical stripes. Dark colors help conceal a heavier build. You also have to pay attention to the little details. For instance, a clean, unbroken belt is vital, simply because people's eyes naturally fall right to the center of your silhouette. Make sure your watch strap is unfrayed. Keep your shoes perfectly clean and polished. That instantly signals meticulousness. And finally, maintain a neat, intentional haircut. When you are impeccably groomed, your dressing sense instantly becomes so much more appealing, and people just naturally assume you are organized, capable, and confident. Your physical presentation also completely extends to your body language. We have to consciously map our internal feelings to our external expressions. When you're feeling angry or super stressed, strive for a neutral, relaxed facial expression. Frowning doesn't just broadcast your inner turmoil, it actually makes you look older. When you're anxious, anchor yourself with really calm, slow breathing. But when you're greeting someone, always offer a warm, appreciative smile. A genuine smile is this incredibly contagious, magnetic force that immediately signals to others that you are a safe, positive presence to be around. Act 3. The art of connection. A truly magnetic personality isn't just about how you stand or how you dress. It is deeply rooted in interpersonal dynamics. It is all about how you make other people feel. Now, what's really interesting about this is the perfect conversation ratio. It's actually 75% active listening and only 25% speaking. Listening is this strange, almost creative force. The person who truly listens to us is the exact person we are instinctively drawn toward. While you're listening now, you absolutely have to avoid the Me Too syndrome. When someone shares a story, our natural human tendency is to jump right in and say, "Oh, that happened to me too." And suddenly we've made the entire conversation about ourselves. Try not to do this. Keep the focus firmly on them. Practice active listening by nodding and specifically referencing past details. So if they previously mentioned a family member, follow up later and ask, "Hey, how is your father doing?" Recalling those specific details proves to them that you truly hear them. Another deeply psychological tool is the raw power of names. All across history and mythology, names hold this immense significance. The Egyptian sun god Ra warded off monsters in the dark simply by knowing their true names. In fairy tales like Rumpelstiltskin, knowing a true name grants you literal power over the entity. In our everyday social dynamics, using someone's name frequently and correctly is practically a magical tool. It grabs their attention and creates this instant, undeniable feeling of warmth and validation. Just be absolutely sure you remember it correctly, because fumbling someone's name definitely breaks the spell. To deepen that connection even further, we can look to psychologist Robert Cialdini's concept, the scarcity principle. Human beings just find rare things highly attractive. In a social setting, this translates into what we call the secret strategy. If you share a small, somewhat personal secret with someone, you are essentially offering them something scarce. It clearly signals that you trust them, and human nature dictates that they will instinctively trust you back, which rapidly builds an exclusive, tight-knit bond between you two. Act 4. Becoming a social leader. A magnetic personality eventually evolves into a form of subtle leadership. You become someone who calmly and confidently guides the energy and direction of their social circles. And this builds into some very actionable traits. First, social leaders give genuine, unprompted compliments. If you see a stranger at a coffee shop with a really cool pendant, just tell them. It shows immense self-assurance. Second, they are decisive. Don't sit around asking, "So, where do you want to eat?" Take charge and confidently set the plans. Third, they laugh at themselves. Think of actors like Jim Carrey. Being comfortable enough to mock your own flaws instantly relaxes the whole group. Next, they say no politely but firmly. You can simply smile and say, "I'm afraid I have another commitment," without sounding arrogant at all. And finally, they just keep learning. A knowledgeable mind is, for sure, a confident mind. But out of all these leadership traits, this next one is perhaps the absolute most critical for your own psychology. You must honor your words. The people who suffer from the lowest self-confidence are almost always the ones who say one thing and then do another. If you casually promise your daughter you're going to bring chocolate home, you have to bring the chocolate home. When your actions perfectly match your words, you are proving to your own brain that you are reliable. Those small, kept promises build massive, massive self-belief. We've explored the inner game of validation, the visual cues of the halo effect, the fine art of active listening, and those key traits of social leadership. Developing a truly magnetic personality doesn't just happen overnight, but it absolutely does happen one intentional choice at a time. So I want to leave you with this final thought to carry with you today. Look at all the psychological tools we've discussed. What is just one small habit you will improve today? Choose it, practice it, and just watch how the world responds to you. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Step out there and own the room.